Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Cannon Chatter TV with me, Stephen, and I am joined again tonight by my co-host, who's managed to drag himself back to London. G, how are you?
It feels good to be back. But yeah, no, I'm good. It feels really good to be back. Obviously, I tuned into the show on Monday night, so I obviously wasn't able to be with you guys live, but I had to show my support by tuning in and peppering the comments because I wanted to kind of have my say. But yeah, it feels really good to be back. So glad I'm here. Hope everyone's well and just looking forward to the show,
Good.
How about yourself? How you getting on?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad to have you back. Although to be fair, Keith did such a good job on Monday night co-hosting with me. He was supposed to be a guest and he ended up being a co-host. He did such a good job that I did think about replacing you, so you need to have a good show tonight to make.
Maybe you know what? Maybe we need a poll. Do you know what I mean? Maybe put it out for the poll, put it out for the viewers, see what they think.
Well, this is it. We may well do. Even Gunner girl, Holly, how are you? Hey good guys, evening, I'm nervous for tomorrow. Yeah, I think we all are, and obviously we'll come on to that in a wee minute or two. So yeah, as I say, Keith did such a good job tonight. So or not tonight, on Monday night, you've got a lot to live up to tonight. Otherwise, you're getting replaced.
You know what? I'll try my best.
Yeah. Right. I think we'll roll the credits out and we'll just get into things. Okay.
Cool.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's
So, happy Cinco de Mayo.
Mate, listen, you know what? I have to be completely honest. It's the first I've ever even heard of this so-called Mexican festival. Just to let you all know, maybe you all know what Cinco de Mayo means or whatever the hell it's called, but I received a picture from Stephen earlier and it was a bottle of mayonnaise in a sink. And I'm thinking to myself, and it just said happy. And I'm thinking to myself, what is this guy on? Because I'm just like this, woof. It just went completely over my head. So I'm thinking to myself, he said it's a catchphrase, say what you see. So I'm thinking sauce in a sink. I'm thinking, mayo down the drain. I'm thinking I like my mayo in the sink. I was absolutely gobsmacked. So yeah, that completely went over my head. But you know what? I've learned something new today. So, thanks for the education. As I've said to you before, I'm not very cultured. I've kind of lived within my kind of London bubble for the last 36 or 37 years. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
gonna lost lie, me completely.
The voice notes you left me whenever I told you what it was were kind of comical. I did kind of roll about a wee bit with laughter. So, right, let's go back with these comments quickly. Buster, evening, Buster. Quietly confident for tomorrow. Good lad. Keith, no, don't do a poll, lads, please. No, I think we should. I tell you what, though.
Thank you, Keith.
Anytime one of us can't make it, you're going to be drafted in the co-host.
No, definitely. Did a great job.
Anthony, yes, lads. Gee, that quiz are looking good, sparkling on my mouth. Hope you're good, lads.
You're just keeping it warm. That's all, Anthony. It's coming home, baby.
We're going to have to get you back on soon, Anthony, and give him a chance to redeem himself. He is going to have a chance on Friday night to redeem himself, but we'll talk about that later on. Not against yourself, Anthony, but against somebody who has been on with us before. Gee, looking forward to mustard,
Like I don't even know if he's taking a piss or if that's a real thing. That's the jokes. I actually don't have a clue. Do you know what I mean? I'm assuming he's taking a piss, but I don't know.
Oh, stop, please.
Oh,
right. Gary, Stephen, it's Granville, but yeah, or G Rant. Yeah, okay, yeah, got it. Got in before Anthony. Thought I would say hi. Evening, Gary. Good to have you with us. All right, let's kick things off. Yeah, so obviously you weren't with us on Monday night, and we're coming off the back of the weekend of the Stop Online Abuse stuff, and you obviously had your say with Anthony on Friday night on the show. But just with that in mind, do you have anything sort of further to add about the weekend? How do you think it went? Do you think it was a success? Or do you think it had much of an impact? Or do you think that obviously conversations like the ones we had, the ones that I seen Anthony have later on that evening on his own channel as well, do you think those had more impact than actually the online abuse stopping of social media? Sorry, which do you think was more impactful?
You know what it is, like this whole kind of social media stop online abuse. I'm all for, like I've said previously, I'm all for people getting involved, getting behind something that they feel could potentially have an impact. But for me, I just think it's more it's more impactful if those who are affected by online abuse actually are able to, as difficult as it is, are able to actually stay online and do what it is they do. Because I think that sends a more powerful message. I think that sends the message that, I have been subject to online abuse, but I'm still here, so it's a difficult one. I don't feel as though the whole kind of, online boycott will have much of an impact at all, because I just think, the people that, participate in this online abuse, whatever the nature of that online abuse is, not being able to, send those messages, or, even still sending those messages over the 3 days, but just not having somebody read them or somebody actually, seeing them is not going to really, one, it's not going to stop the messages from being sent because they're still going to be sent. And two, it's like, this is not going to have any impact in terms of like, educating or enlightening the people that are actually sending these messages. So it's a good cause, and I fully respect those that got behind it. And when I say those that have got behind it, I'm talking about fans or your kind of average, Twitter user, your normal average person. Getting behind it and jumping on this bandwagon of like, we're not going to tweet for 3 days. I just think to myself, with power, with big power comes big responsibility, and I just don't feel like any of those kind of organizations or institutions that fully got behind this are doing enough, individually. They, with the money that they have behind them and the influence that they have behind them, they can actually be doing a lot more. So while I will, I didn't fully support it because I was active over the last 3 days, but for me, I don't have an issue with using social media. I use it in an effective way. Even if people don't agree with me, if people have a difference in opinion, I'm respectful of people's views. I'm here to debate. I'm here to, have an open discussion, but I don't really see the point in myself or anybody else not using social media, because there's a minority of people, ignorant people that basically want to just spread hate, so I wasn't a fan of it, to be honest, and I don't really see its effectiveness.
No worries. I wonder if the social networks noticed a drop in usage. I'm sure they probably did. I mean, it was noticeable.
Yeah.
I think I certainly noticed. I noticed a lot of sort of regular people that you would see commenting on things weren't commenting. Did it make it any less enjoyable? No. I didn't really have an issue. As I respect everybody's right to do what they want. If they wanted to do it, fine. If they didn't, fine. Like yourself, I don't know really what difference it's going to make. The platforms know what needs to be done, and a few people not using it isn't going to make any difference. I did sort of comically, sort of tongue-in-cheek, tweeted out the other day that I wouldn't mind if Arsenal kept off until after the next week, until after tomorrow night, sorry, because we seem to focus more on the game and less on social media, because our players do seem to be quite active on social media. Yeah. And maybe if they stop worrying about playing up to the cameras and tweeting and Instagramming and stuff, they might focus more. So anyway,
you know what was funny though, like as we were on the topic, is that I had as I had an Instagram live chat with one of my mates that I've known for years, and we were talking about Cannon Chatter, and he was very interested in kind of getting to know what we do, how we do it, and just kind of putting the feelers out there for other people to kind of see what we do. And it was funny because before we kind of got onto Cannon Chatter and how this all came about, we were actually talking a little bit about the lockdown and COVID and so forth. And when he actually posted the video of the conversation and put it on, and I even put it on my stories on my personal Instagram account, it flagged up. So when I went on there, the government actually put a link to COVID, so that people, even though we were speaking about it, they actually put a link so that people could actually, click on the link and find out useful information about COVID. And it was also, which I didn't actually tell you, I posted a story about one of our lives, and it was literally like something about, if you didn't manage to catch up with the live, the links in the bio, etc., etc. And I got a message from Instagram saying that this story did not meet our guidelines or something like that, so it's been removed. And I thought to myself, clearly, Instagram can, I'm talking about Instagram in this instance because that's where the examples have come from. But Instagram clearly can actually put things in place where, if somebody has sent a message or somebody's put something which has racial connotations to it, they could clearly put up something, to kind of remind that user that this doesn't necessarily meet the guidelines, or even like some kind of educational piece about discrimination or racism. So more can be done. They just don't want to do anything about it. That's the honest truth.
Okay. Well, we'll not dwell on it too long. I think we've all sort of had our say on it, and it's done now, and we'll see what happens. So the next thing I want to just talk about briefly before we go on to tomorrow night's match is, I don't know if you've seen the rumours that came out yesterday from Football London about Arsenal potentially being willing to sell Thomas Partey this summer.
I have to be completely honest, I didn't see this.
No? So, yeah, no. Football London put out a report yesterday that basically said Arteta wasn't sure on him, and obviously off the back of all the injuries and stuff. And now I think it was kind of clickbait myself. And there didn't really seem to be an awful lot of substance behind the story. Yeah. But it's interesting that these sorts of stories are being put out there, whether it's journalists just trying to rock the boat a little, or whether there is some sort of genuine truth to it. Maybe he is a little unhappy. Maybe he does regret his decision. How would you feel if Arsenal were to sell him in the summer?
You know what? Like, immediate reaction is no, don't sell him. I'm not going to sit here and say that, because, he's come in and he's not necessarily had the impact that we probably would have liked, that I'm going to sit here and say, we should sell him. We invested 45 million euros to get his, release clause triggered. What I saw of him as a player, both internationally and what he did at Atletico Madrid, I was over the moon when Arsenal actually signed him, and we've seen enough this season to suggest that, he can actually, recapture that form that he has, that he kind of put on in a consistent basis at Atletico Madrid. So for me, no, I wouldn't sell him. I think we've got more than enough issues with the current players that we've got. We've kind of touched upon with players that are on loan, current squad players that need moving on, and obviously players that need bringing in. So for me, selling Partey would just add to a already massive issue, which is we need to get rid of, players that are not of a certain quality and bring in quality players. And Partey would not fall into that category for me, despite, him not coming in and setting the world on fire. At the same time, it's one of those situations where if he is unhappy and he kind of regrets, obviously we can only go by what the article said, and I've not read the article, but if he is actually unhappy and he regrets his decision and he wants to move away from London, then to be honest, by all means sell him. Because for me, I only want players at this club that want to be at this club, that are fully committed to our future, because right now we need players that are fully committed, because the situation we're in, that's what it requires. So, first instance, I would say, hell no, do not sell him. He's a quality player. But ultimately, if he's not happy and he wants to be moved on, then we shouldn't be begging any player to stay at this club. Yeah.
I don't say, when I say that about him being unhappy at the club, that wasn't in the article. That's just me speculating. And obviously trying to come up with reasons for the article at all, where it's being linked from. Gary Partey can go for 60 to 70 million.
Would we get it though?
This is it. And Arteta pushing Partey back onto the pitch wasn't received well. It was and it wasn't. I actually don't have any issue with him pushing him back onto the pitch. It's one of them ones. It's a debatable one. I mean, for me, in terms of party, no, I wouldn't let him go. I wouldn't want to see him go. And my real concern is that if we let him go, we're already looking at Guendouzi, Herrera, Ceballos, potentially on Nenny, all going. Willock. Yeah, for me,
the list is endless.
For me, Xhaka as well. I've said it countless times, and it's not necessarily just me trying to, that agenda against Xhaka. It's not. It's the fact that if we're bringing a midfielder in to partner Partey, it's Xhaka's going to be the one missing out, and he's not going to want at this point in his career to be sat on the bench. He's still he's just in his late 20s. He's going to want to be playing week in, week out, and he's capable of playing week in, week out. So, he's not going to want to sit on the bench. So I think he'd be going as well. And then all of a sudden, if Partey's going, that's an entire midfield.
Literally.
6 or 7 central midfielders, effectively, you're going to have to go out and try and replace.
And to be honest, I must say, I can't see all those players leaving this summer.
No.
I can't, because, that in itself is if all those players were to leave in one transfer window, that would be a huge transfer window. And we're talking about we need changes of personnel, potentially, in the goalkeeper position, in the defense, in the midfield, and the strike force. So I can't see in a million years 7 midfielders, on their way.
We need people all over the pitch, really, at the moment. Right across the defensive line, goalkeeper, as you say, centre midfield, potentially another number 10. We potentially need another winger and another attacker, So, I mean, there's so much surgery needs done. Ethan Ryan, selling Partey would be a backward step. We would then need to go out and buy 2 world-class midfielders instead of 1. Absolutely. And Gary saying, in reality, I want to see a healthy Partey with Smith Rowe, Saka, and Martinelli in front of him. Absolutely. And I think we're all sort of in the same boat as you there. Those are the sort of players that I feel that the club should be building around. Absolutely. So, all right. Keith, we've yet to see the best of Partey. He's already improved Xhaka as a centre midfielder partner. I think what he'd do with a worldie alongside him. Absolutely. And I mean, this is the thing. I mean, much as people are sort of saying about how good Xhaka's played this season, how he's an improved player, people are still clamouring for us to bring in a replacement for him. The likes of Silva. We've been linked with this guy Rodriguez at Real Betis. And from all accounts, that one's, an advanced stage. How true that is or not, I don't know. But, so it's clear we're being linked with a midfield partner for him. And that, to me, as I say, that says Xhaka's on his way. I just don't see Xhaka staying as a squad player. Oh, sorry. So, let's get into it then. Tomorrow night, we have somewhat of a vitally important game. I said it earlier on, it's a season-defining moment and potentially an Arteta career-defining moment. Everything for our season, and it's silly that we say that everything for our season rests on tomorrow night, because then if we win tomorrow night, everything on our season rests on the final. But it does, it's last chance saloon for us to get a European place, and it's delicately poised, is what I would say. 2-1 after the first leg. I said, and I'm sticking with it, I still think we'll win 2-1 tomorrow night. I'll go to penalties, but it's how are you feeling about it? I mean, are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you confident? What's the feelings at the minute going into the match? And you guys at home, drop how you're feeling into the chat for us as well, please.
I've been nervous, I think, since the last game finished. It's one of those where I was nervous, leading up to that game.
Is that why you've got to put petrol in your car on Monday?
But no, seriously, all jokes aside, I've been nervous. I was nervous before that game, given the poor performance and the result. I've been nervous ever since, and it's almost like every day that goes by and we get closer and closer to the kickoff, I'm just becoming more increasingly nervous, because you've said exactly what it is. It's season defining. It's huge. it's huge for everything in terms of the club. For Arteta's career, for our season, for the future of the club in terms of I've even kind of contemplated, quite a lot, in terms of if we lose this game and what that means for Arsenal Football Club. And what it means is for the next, for the first time in 25 years, we won't have qualified for European football. And, that is just massive. What's that?
It's unthinkable.
Yeah, it's just huge. It's just so big. And it's like, don't get me wrong, like, throughout the season, we've I've massively, and all Arsenal fans have massively questioned, the performances and the mentality of these players. But, if these guys do not turn up tomorrow and deliver, and it's not even about actually going out, it's about actually turning up and putting in a performance. And if these guys turn up tomorrow and put in a performance, for me, they win the tie. For me, they go through. The problem is that how many of us can actually sit here and say, that we're confident that they will. And I think that's why, the whole fan base is nervous. I've seen tweets, since the last game. I've seen tweets on Monday talking about how nervous Arsenal fans are. And I can completely relate to that because this game is so huge. But at the same time, it's like, I think we're nervous because we don't know what Arsenal is going to walk out onto that pitch. It could be, the Arsenal that turned up in the second leg against Slavia Prague and literally blew them away within, 10 to 15 minutes. Or we could get the Arsenal of last week where they didn't even look like they were half bothered. So, yeah, I'm not confident in a nutshell. And I'm very nervous ahead of tomorrow's game. So, yeah, it's a difficult one. I know you're feeling a little bit more optimistic and that we will go through and that we potentially win the game. But is that how you're really feeling with regards to the match, with regards to 2 legs?
Do you know what? I've said it before. I'll never bet against us. And I literally mean that. I have a bet on that we will qualify.
Good, yeah.
So it's only a couple of quid, but it's whatever was left in my betting account. I stuck it on us to qualify. Is it what I'm really feeling? I'm nervous. I'm worried. I am genuinely. It'll be heart and mouth time tomorrow night. And I'm not one. I don't really suffer a great deal of nerves in life.
Same.
I get the odd time where I get nervous, but for the most part, and it's come from, I used to be in a previous role. I used to be a sales trainer, so I used to stand in front of a room full of people and train them and stuff like that. And so and you've been a teacher, so it's like you stood in front of a room full of kids and taught and talked to them. So nerves in that sort of sense, they're not something I suffer a great deal with. I do. The odd time, I recall, it's very poignant that it was this week as well, that it's the anniversary of Tony Adams scoring that goal at Highbury. It was 25 years ago. To take the title, when Stevie Bowden knocked it over. And I still remember sitting in the house watching that on TV, biting my nails, because I was nervous, even though we were 3-0 up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's butterflies in the tummy already for tomorrow night. And I know when we're watching it, I will be sitting nervous, and I'll be having to have a few beers, I think.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I think, are we nervous about the magnitude of the game? Yes. But I'm more nervous about the performance and what Arsenal we're going to see tomorrow night. I think that's more kind of contributing to my nerves rather than the actual opposition.
For me, I'm more nervous of the ramifications of not qualifying for Europe. And what that means for us as a club. What that means in terms of the cronky selling, what it means in terms of the caliber of players we can bring in, what it means for Arteta. Will Arteta be gone? Will we then be looking for another coach? It's there's so much at stake tomorrow night that you can't help but be nervous. Brian's saying, sorry, I'm nervous and confident. Our home form has been shaky this season, and we never know what Arsenal will turn up but with Tierney, Louise, and Laka being in training, it gives me hope. Yeah, absolutely. Our home form has not been great. We've been better away from home, but it's not to say we can't get the job done. I think we can, and as he rightly says, some of those players being back, Aubameyang being back, and I don't know if you've seen Aubameyang's press conference today, but that's the first time in a while we've seen Aubameyang come out and talk to the press, and he looked happy.
Yeah,
and that's the first time for quite a while I've seen that smile on Aubameyang's face.
Yeah,
when albeit it's probably put on because he's facing the cameras, but it was nice to see, and happy, smiley. Aubameyang can be the difference. He's 6 goals in his last 3 semi-finals. I think it is. I read earlier. So, he got a hat-trick this time last year in the semi-final. We need that from him again tomorrow night.
Yeah, we need him big time.
Yeah. Gary, I wonder before every match what surprise Arteta has in store for us. He is yet not to surprise us. I want a very good one, but I fear a repeat of the first leg. Absolutely. You just don't know what team he's going to put out. And on that note, I will bring up your selection. So this is the team that you would like to see tomorrow night, yeah?
Yeah, so obviously what's that? So obviously I put this team together with obviously without the knowledge that the likes of Laka, Tierney and David Luiz was in training or were in contention of starting. I put it together earlier today. So I've gone with Leno in goal. And you know what? To be honest, it's crazy because I actually found this quite difficult. I was contemplating actually playing Matty Ryan. And some people might say, you're absolutely crazy. But for some reason, I think just the kind of accumulation of some of the times, during I'm not disputing that Leno is a good keeper. I'm not disputing that he's our number one, but there have been key moments in the season where, he has saved us and he has been the difference between, gaining points and dropping points, etc., etc. But there's also been quite a few moments that I can think of the top of my head where he has actually been the cause, of a defensive error or giving away a goal, etc. Most recently against Everton. So I was really contemplating, should we play Matty Ryan? He's looked solid, but, playing against the likes of Burnley or, whoever it was the other day is very different to, playing in a game of this magnitude. So I stuck with Leno, but it was something that I wasn't quite confident about. But I stuck with him. I thought, he's our number one. I do believe he is our best goalkeeper out of the two. So I stuck with him. And I thought to myself, well, you know what? And I think obviously what else I took into consideration is some of the comments, recently about his future and stuff. And I just thought to myself, we need players that are fully committed. And I think with Matt Ryan, what he lacks in terms of quality in comparison to Leno, he makes up in heart and just full committal to the club. He's a long life Arsenal fan. I think he will give absolutely everything on that pitch. So I jostled with the idea of playing Matty Ryan, but I stuck with Leno. Hopefully, Arteta makes the right call with regards to goalkeeper situation, and I do believe that he will start Leno. And I've started Leno, so I can understand that. Now, given obviously the situation, the back four might be a little bit of a surprise to a few people. So I've gone to. At the end of the day, this is not Arteta's lineup. This is my lineup. So I've gone with Cedric at right back. I feel as though he has kind of been unfairly treated, if I have to be completely honest. I think he's come into the team. He's been bought. Everybody kind of questioned why he was bought. And, I hear a lot of people saying that, he's been awful and he's been disastrous and he's really poor. And I've just not seen that. I don't know if my perspective is just way off or I'm completely biased. I don't know what it is, but I've not seen a player that has come in and done an awful job. I've seen a player that's come in and done a reasonably good job at right back, linking up with Pepe, and also at left back when he's had to kind of cover for Tierney. So for me, even though Chambers has been playing really well, I'll come on to Chambers in a second. I would start with Cedric at the right. I think he links up really well with Pepe. And I think that was something that I would actually go with regards to this game. Something's not, for me, I'm not a massive fan of Holding. I've picked him several times in the right centre-back position. And to be honest, a lot of the time it's because he has been our only option. So that's why I've kind of gone for him. As much as I love the guy, I think he gives everything. I just don't think he is of Arsenal quality, and I honestly don't believe he should be anywhere near the first team. As harsh as that sounds, I just don't think he's good enough. He has lifted his game in some big games. Notably, I think it was a couple of semi-finals or matches against Liverpool where he's looked like Paolo Maldini at the back. But I just don't think he does that on a consistent basis. So there could be an argument to play him because this is a big game. But I think when Chambers came on the other night, I think he did a solid job in the centre-back position. So for me, I'd place Chambers in that position. Now, obviously, we don't know whether David Luiz will be fit. But for me, right now, I just think Holding looks suspect. I think he was awful in the first leg. And I'm not sure if much is going to change between then and now. So in the left centre-back position, I've picked Gabriel. Mari, it's a real issue we have at left centre-back. It's a good issue, but it's a real issue in terms of who we pick. Mari is a really, really good player. Gabriel is a fantastic player. At the same time, I just think Gabriel will probably be more suited. I think this is a game where we're going to have to take the game to them. And I think because of that, we're going to be left open at times for a counter-attack. And I just think Gabriel's pace is going to be invaluable, in a situation like this, in a game like this. He is the one defender out of all the defenders that if that ball gets played over the top, I trust he will get there or he will be best placed to get there. I can't see any of the other centre-backs living with him in terms of pace. So for me, given the game that we're going to have to take to Villarreal, I can't see any other option than picking Gabriel for this game. There are going to be times when we're going to have to play a high line. We're going to have to push forward. And, I think there'll probably be more than one occasion where his pace is probably going to get us out of jail. So that's why I picked Gabriel in the left centre-back position. In the left back position, what can we say? We've seen Xhaka there for 5-6 games or so, and I don't understand the logic. I can't sit here and say I do. I just don't understand it. Given the fact that we have a weak midfield, we're taking one of our best midfield options, we're sticking him at left back, and to be honest, he's not a good left back. I don't care what anyone says. That's just my opinion. I don't rate him as a left back. I think he got absolutely, roasted against Richarlison. He was at fault for the first goal against Valencia, and I just think we need somebody there who has played in that position and impressed in that position. Now, given the fact that we've discovered that Tierney did train, if Tierney's fit, he has to play. And then obviously that changes potentially my whole lineup. But given the fact that Tierney probably won't play in this match, I'm going to go with Saka. And that's simply because, we're all talking about, the accolades in terms of Saka, going forward and the assists and the goals and stuff like that. But, he's proven that he can play wing back, left back, and he can give us a really good option there. He can track back. He's got the pace to track back. He can bomb forward, and he can give us what basically Tierney gives us, but maybe not so much defensively. But I just feel like when Tierney's not in the side, we really lack anything down the left-hand side. And I just think if Tierney doesn't play, it makes more sense to play Saka there than it does to play Xhaka. And that's why I've gone with Saka at the left-back position. In midfield, I've gone with our best pivot. Tobias is not fit. He's not available for this match. And to be honest, even if he was, I wouldn't be starting him. I think he'd even lucky to be getting on the bench, to be honest. El Nene for me, scored a great goal. I think I said to you, and I think I tweeted it out. I think El Nene, one thing I like about El Nene is that he's improved his shooting, but to be honest, I don't really want to see him anywhere near the first 11 tomorrow. I like the guy, I feel like he plays to the best of his potential. Is he Arsenal quality? No, he's not. And should he start in midfield tomorrow night? No, he shouldn't. And we should be starting with Xhaka and Partey. They're our best two options, and they should be the two options that start in the midfield tomorrow. For the number 10 position, I've gone with Smith Rowe. Obviously, between Smith Rowe and Odegaard, I felt like it was between those two for this position. And I've gone with Smith Rowe. I just feel like, given the fact that he is part of our future, he is our player. Odegaard isn't, likely to go back to Madrid. I just feel like a game of this magnitude, we need to move forward with players that are going to be here next season. And even if Smith Rowe has a bad game, he's not going to be found wanting for effort or running all day, closing down, etc. So we need him to have one of those games where he really finds his creative spark. And I'm hoping, by putting him in the side, he will do. So I've put him in the number 10 position. I think he deserves that spot. He came into this side when we were going through a really difficult patch. He raised the standard of the whole team. Him and Saka literally, pulled and carried this team, in getting some key results to get us out of the relegation zone or close to the relegation zone. So I think he deserves this spot. And that's why I've given him the number 10 spot for this match. I've decided to go with Pepe on the right. Pepe has shown fantastic form in the Europa League. And I think also he's actually proven that he is a big game player. He turned up, in the, I believe it was a semi-final against, who was it against again? Was it Man City or Chelsea? But he turns up in big games for me. I think against Slavia Prague, again, he turned up with a goal. And I just think, given the fact that it's Europa League, given the fact that it is a big game, and the fact that obviously I'm playing Saka at left back, I can only go with Pepe, in the right forward position. Obviously, if Tierney plays, then that gives us a bit more of a dilemma. It will be like, who do you play, Saka or Pepe? And I probably would still be inclined to play Pepe. He's a little bit older, he's a little bit more experienced. And for me, I just think he should be given a nod. 72 million, our record signing, now is the time to deliver. We need to really call upon, these big players. It's a night where these big players need to step up, and I think it could be the perfect occasion for Pepe to step up and really make his name and put his name in history book for Arsenal. So I've gone with Pepe on the right. On the left, I can't see beyond Martinelli. A lot of people, there's been a lot of debate throughout the season that, on the left is Aubameyang's, best position. But right now, I honestly can't see anybody that we would play above Martinelli. The runs he makes, he glides past players with ease. He's always chasing down the ball. He just gives everything on that pitch. And I think, given the magnitude of this game, he's not going to leave anything. He's going to literally give everything. And I just think that's the kind of attitude we need on the pitch tomorrow night, because it's going to be one of those games where it's like, it's all or nothing. We can't walk away from the 90 minutes and feel like, oh, we didn't do enough. And I don't think Martinelli, to be honest, does that in any game. He makes mistakes. He might put, third pass, astray, or he might miss an opportunity, but it's not because of a lack of effort or a lack of work ethic. So for me, that's what we need tomorrow night, and that's why I'd start him. Obviously, Aubameyang, I'd put up top. Lacazette has trained. He's our top goal scorer, but I can't see him being match fit to come in for this game. And I said it in a couple of our last shows. Tomorrow night, Aubameyang has to deliver. It's a huge game. He's our top paid player. He's our talisman. He's our captain. He came on against Villarreal, and within a couple of minutes, he had a really good opportunity. And I just think to myself, tomorrow is the night where Aubameyang has to deliver. Not taking away anything that he's done previously. And I know it's not fair to kind of put the big pressure on him and say, he has to have a good game. He has to shoot us into the final. Look, they all have to play well. They all have to have really good games. But nevertheless, let's be honest. He is who we look to score the goals. He is who we've looked to score the goals in the past. So for me, Aubameyang has to play up front. He has to deliver. He has to have a good game, and he has to shoot us into that final. So that's why I'd start him up front.
Good. Okay. There's very, very little there I could sort of disagree with. In fact, there's not really anything I can disagree with. Everything's really valid points. And as you say, if you're starting Saka at left back, you've got that room up there for Pepe to start, and Martinelli to start as well. Lacazette, if it was me personally, I wouldn't be starting him tomorrow night coming off the back of a hamstring injury. Tierney, arguably, I probably would start Tierney, because I think he's the sort that if he's back training, he's fit. it's kind of the thing with Tierney.
Yeah.
And who's the other one? David Luiz is an interesting one. Whether he's going to be fit enough to play, coming back again, pulling his hamstring. You wonder what this Bruno Mariazzo or whatever he's called, this Brazilian physio was doing. I think injecting bull semen or something into them. They're just coming out as strong as oxes, within a couple of weeks of getting injured. I can't fault your team. And I'd be happy if that was the team that we lined up with tomorrow night. Yeah, I'd be happy enough with that. It won't be. I'll tell you that now. But I would be more than happy with it. So a couple of comments before we move on to my team. Gary G, I would be happy with your lineup because most of these players have played most recently besides Cedric, KT, Laka and Louise. I fear won't be able to give us 90 minutes. Half-time subs if needed. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know that they'd be able to play, and KT I don't think will last 120 minutes. That would be the only argument if it goes to extra time. You might get sort of 70, 80 minutes out of him, but I don't think you get 120 out of him. So it's whether you would risk leaving him and bringing him on. Remember, you do have 5 subs in the Europa League, so there's options. Cav SO4.
Thank you, Cav.
I agree.
I said thank you, Cav. I don't understand why Arteta can't see this.
Yeah, Cedric is arguably our best right back now and will be a great squad player. Yeah, I would agree. I would put him ahead of Chambers and I'd certainly put him ahead of Bellerin.
Yep.
So it's strange. Gary, Martinelli, Alba and Pepe would threaten their backline. Martinelli will test them. Absolutely. Yep. Ryan, Pepe has to start. He has 6 goals in Europa so far. Yeah. And we'll come on to that in a sec. I think he will start. And Gary again, if we can't put all the pressure on Alba, then why give him the armband? That's what captains do. He should welcome the challenge. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, if you've seen his press conference today, he was in better spirits, and it's the best I've seen him, look for a while. He looked happy, and that's what we need is a happy Aubameyang.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll do the business for us tomorrow night. So, as we do, certainly when it's just you and me on the show, I let you pick the team that you would like to see. And quite often it's fairly similar to the team I would like to see. And what I tend to do is I pick the team that I think Arteta will play.
Oh, gosh, let's see this.
Channeling my inner Arteta, this is the team I believe will more than likely start tomorrow night. So, Leno in goal, like yourself, it was debatable because of obviously the comments and stuff, but I still think he'll stick with Leno over Matty Ryan. I think he's going to go with Chambers at right back and bring Holding back in alongside Mari because, as was talked about before in the show, that seems to be the partnerships. It's Gabriel and Louise or Mari and Holding. And I think he'll go with Mari and Holding again. I just can't see him risking Louise. So soon after being coming off on Sunday, and I do think
I've got to be honest though. I worry about Mari and Holding at the back. Given the kind of game we have to play in this match.
Okay.
Yeah, I really worry.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Their forwards are pacey.
Yeah,
they are. Tierney, I think, can counteract. Chukwueze or whatever he's called. Is he Nigerian, is he?
Yeah, Nigerian winger.
Nigerian winger. I think he'd cope with him a lot better than Xhaka did.
Yeah.
Xhaka was getting a hard time by them. So I think Tierney will come back in. He's not going to be fully fit. I think you get sort of 70, 80 minutes out of him. And hopefully by that stage, would have the game put to bed. That frees up then Xhaka to go back in the midfield, the partner party. And I think, as you said rightly, that is our best central midfield partnership at the minute. In fact, it's really the only midfield partnership. Anything else is not really a partnership. It's just a patch-up, midfield. And I think tomorrow night, with them missing Capuet after he got sent off in the first game, I actually think we have a chance to dominate the midfield.
Yeah, we do.
Because they're going to probably more than likely have Coquelin come in and play as that sort of holding midfield role. And they go for a 4-3-3. So Coquelin in the middle of the pitch, for me, isn't going to be a match for Xhaka and Partey. So we have a real opportunity to dominate that midfield space. So we need Xhaka in there to do that.
Yeah.
I think he will go for Odegaard over Smith Rowe. I think, we've seen that since Odegaard's come in and got fit. I think that he does seem to just prefer him slightly. Again, not necessarily who I would pick. I want to see Smith Rowe play because Smith Rowe, he's a heel end boy, and he knows what this means to the club. Much as Odegaard's making all the right noises that he wants to stay, realistically, will he be at the club next season? I don't think so. I think if we get Champions League, then we're going to go after the likes of Grealish and players like that of a much higher caliber. I would like to see Odegaard stay. If we don't qualify, then I can't see us spending the money trying to keep him. I think they may go for a cheaper option with the likes of Buendia or someone like that. So, realistically, no, I don't see Odegaard there next season. So that's why I would play Smith Rowe. But I believe that Arteta will probably go for Odegaard. I think he'll go Saka on the right and Pepe on the left. And that's just, again, I would like to see Martinelli play, but, the problem with it is Pepe's done so well in this competition, and Saka has done so well over the last sort of season and a half for us, and Martinelli has all the energy.
Yeah,
but 2 players in the 3 positions doesn't go, so one has to get dropped, and the likelihood is it's going to be Martinelli. And Aubameyang for me, well, not for me, but for Arteta, Aubameyang starts up front. Even if Lack is back, I don't think he starts. I think the fact that Aubameyang went out and faced the press today means he starts.
Yeah, 100%.
And not starting the game. There'd be no sense in it. So that's the team I believe will play tomorrow night, whether we like it or not. That is what I believe Arteta will go with, and not to be big-headed, but I'm generally not far out when I pick this.
You know what my theory is?
With that team. The thing is, I probably would be happy with that team. Murray and Holding is the only sort of questionable bit for me. But overall, the rest of it, I'd be happy with. Certainly the front 5. Tierney, Chambers, debatable. I'd maybe put Cedric in if it was me picking the team, but I would put Cedric in if it was me picking the team, but it's not. But if that's a team we line up with tomorrow night, I'd still be reasonably confident.
Yeah, I agree. I think if that was the team that Arteta put out tomorrow night, then despite obviously me choosing other players in some of those key positions, I would still be quite happy. Do you know what I mean? My only fear is, when the team news is released at 7 p.m. tomorrow night, if I see Xhaka at left back, if I see Willian on that pitch, then I don't even know how I'm going to react. Like, honestly, I just feel as though, every time we do this, we do, who I would like to play, and we do who you think would play. But at this point, even you've looked at that and thought to yourself, you've not put Willian anywhere near that pitch. You've not put Xhaka at left back. And for me, those are the 2 key ones. Actually, 3 key ones. I think, if Xhaka's at left back, which would mean probably El Nene starting the match, and Willian, if he started in the first 11, if we go on to, if we win the game, listen, happy days, innit? However we get there, we get there. But if any of those selections are made and we go on to lose the game, I tell you, I'll be livid. I'll be absolutely livid.
How would you feel? It was actually, we'll come on to Ryan, your comment on me second, but I think it was Keith made the point the other night. How would you feel if Xhaka started at left back because Tierney wasn't fit enough, and Smith Rowe started in the midfield alongside Partey?
I don't know. I'd probably feel better than if El Nene started next to Partey. But nevertheless, for me, it's still a no-brainer to put Xhaka in the midfield. So I think for me, that the real issue I have is, why is Xhaka playing left back?
Yeah.
I just don't get it. Like, I've tried to think of all different, the rationale, the thought process behind it, and I just don't get it when we have Cedric in the squad, and we also have Saka, who can actually play left back. So don't get me wrong, I would be less pissed off if Xhaka played left back and Smith Rowe played next to Pepe, because I think, okay, that's interesting. But for me, given the game and what's at stake, start your two best midfielders in their desired positions and play somebody, either Tierney or Saka, who has proven to play well in the wing back position. So although I'd be less pissed off, I'd still be like, that's not the right call.
I think, as I say, for me, what you're saying there about starting Partey and Xhaka in their best positions, it has to be tomorrow night.
Yeah, it has to be.
As I've said, with Eddie and Capuy out, they're missing their linchpin in the centre of midfield now. And, Coquelin's going to be the one coming in their place. If you get those two in there and they can dominate the midfield, it controls the game, and it gives us such a better opportunity. Ryan then saying we need goals. When we need goals, Mari and Holding shouldn't be near the team. Look how much better we transitioned against Newcastle with Luis and Gabriel in the lineup. Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Good point.
But it all comes down to whether Luis is fit enough to play. If he's fit enough to play, then yeah, I mean, you may see Gabriel and Luis being the two.
But I also think Gabriel's better at that as well, because there are times when he'll pick up the ball and he will kind of do a turn of pace and he'll go past a couple of players and release it.
Yeah,
I think he offers us that.
I agree with you, but at the same time, he doesn't. He seems to have an issue with Holding. They don't seem to play as well together.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gary, I agree, Ryan. But if Luis can't go, then Gabriel's stuck on the bench. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Arteta doesn't trust him any other pairing. One thing Gabriel does that I like, but gets him in trouble, is dribble upfield. Exactly what we've been saying. Yeah. Ryan saying that Gabriel needs to be involved either way. I can't cope with sideways, backwards passing from Holding and Mari when we need to score. Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. They're not the first choice centre back pairing I'd want to see. I like Mari, and Mari has arguably been, it's a toss up between him, Luis, and Gabriel for who was the best defender of the season. Gabriel started off brilliantly. Got 3 Player of the Month awards. And then obviously after his COVID dropped off a little and hadn't played as much. And then when he did get back in the team, there was a few silly mistakes and things, and confidence seemed to be down. But, Amari then came in and Amari did a good job alongside Holding. So, I mean, I like Mari, I do, but long-term, Gabriel is going to be the starting centre-back. And I would say long-term, he'll be alongside Saliba. So would you play him? It's such a tough call. It really is. It
is.
I want to play Gabriel, but he doesn't seem to have a relationship with Holding. So then do you go with Mari because he has the better relationship? There's so much to take into consideration. Gary Stephen, I've dreamed of Smith Rowe next to Partey in second leg. Didn't it work versus West Ham? Yeah, I think it was possibly against West Ham where we dropped them back a bit. Why can't we get our best 11 on the pitch? Then let KT, Laka, Luis be in reserves. Arteta like subs, 70 minutes. Yeah. It worked to an extent. And it could work again tomorrow night. It really could. So, but I just can't see Arteta doing it. That's the thing. You know what? Sit here and say we'd love to see these things, but I just can't see Arteta doing it.
Arteta's got to get it right. Like he's got to get it right. Like he's got to get the formation. He's got to get the personnel right because, I'm telling you, I don't want to imagine it, but if we lose tomorrow night, and there are issues with regards, who is playing where and what players he's played, he is literally he's going to lose the entire fan base. He will literally lose 99.9% of the fan base. So he's got to get, like, for me, just go back to basics, bro. Go back to basics. You know, play players in their best positions. Call on your big players that are actually fit and ready to go, and just put them out there and just say, look, lads, deliver. Turn up and deliver. You know, I don't think he can afford for there to be any questions around the line. And don't get me wrong, fans will always question, you know, who you selected, etc. But the vast majority of us know the players, and the vast majority of us see the common sense in who he may or who he may not pick. So do yourself a favor and don't play Xhaka at left back. Play him in midfield. You know, anybody with common sense, if they see Tierney starting, they'll go, yeah, good call. If they see Saka playing at left back, they'll go, you know what, good call. If they see Xhaka in midfield, they'll say, thank God you've realised that he's a midfielder. If they see Martinelli, Aubameyang, Pepe, Saka, any one of those up front, they'll say, yeah. But if you come with this whole false nine business tomorrow night, or you want to play Xhaka at left back, or all of a sudden tomorrow night you want to play Emery and Gabriel when they haven't played together all season, if it works, fantastic. The problem is if it don't work, he's going to have a massive, massive issue, because I, for one, will just be like, you know what? You need to go. Because if he plays Xhaka at left back, and Xhaka, no disrespect against Xhaka, because I said in the last live that we had, I do believe that Xhaka is playing to the best of his ability at left back. But if you play Xhaka at left back and that results in Arsenal conceding a goal down the left, or you know, you play El Nene in midfield and he gets completely, you know, embarrassed on the night, or you don't play a striker and we fail to score a goal in 90 minutes, who else can we look to blame? It's only him. So he needs to get it right. He needs to get that. He needs to get the formation, and he needs to get the personnel right tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. God, I just want to see Gabriel. I know he won't start, but still, yeah, absolutely. Just a spoiler for anybody that doesn't know, Chelsea have just qualified for the Champions League final.
Oh, God.
So that puts even more pressure on us tomorrow night, with it looking like United are going to be in the final. We don't want to be the one of the 4 teams that don't make it. So, Keith, I think left back and right back are essential tomorrow. Xhaka cannot be left back. Cedric should be right back. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we've both sort of been saying there tonight. So, moment of truth, everybody. So for you guys at home, drop this in the comments. Granville, what is going to be the score?
Bro, you know, boy, you know, I can't confidently sit here and say that, I can't confidently sit here and say we're going to win this game. At the same time, you know, Arsenal's my team, so I have to have faith that these geezers are going to turn up tomorrow night and actually put in a performance and actually blow away the opposition. So for me, I'm going to, as much as I have my doubts, I'm going to keep the faith, and I'm going to say, you know what, they're going to come to the Emirates and we're going to blow them away. And I feel that the scoreline will be 3-1 to the Arsenal. Good.
Excellent.
3-1.
You guys in the chat, drop your scorelines in now, please. Ryan, 2-0 to the Arsenal. Good. I'm sticking to what I've said all along. 2-1.
I can't do penalties, man.
Penalties.
I can't do it. Honestly, bro, I can't do it.
Listen, I hope I'm wrong. I really want to be wrong.
I can't
I
do
want to be a
penalties,
comfortable 3-0 victory or something. But no, I'm sticking with it. I think 2-1, and it'll go to penalties. And I'm going to say Aubameyang or Laka gets the winning penalty. Going entirely with my heart, Keith, I agree with G. 3-1. Excellent.
We need to do it, man. We need to do it.
My scoreline all depends on the lineup. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I would agree. But it's good to see that people are sort of more confident than I thought they were going to be. I think when we asked the question last week, everybody was sort of very downbeat about it, but it's nice to see that the confidence is back up a wee bit.
Yeah, we've got to be.
2 goals at half. I'll be taking an aspirin for the heart. Excuse me.
I'm definitely going to be watching this game with you, Stephen. So, obviously, we're going to be watching it. Minute for minute, second for second, going through the motions. And you know me already. You're going to have your beers. I'm going to have my vodka or my brandy, and like I put up last week with that tweet, which did really, really well. And I put up a drink and I said, what's everyone drinking? And it's like all these gooners started messaging saying, oh, I'm drinking this. Bro, tomorrow night it's not going to be any different. I'm going to need a drink probably about an hour or two before the game just to calm the nerves.
Yeah. We do, as we said before, we do quite often watch these games together. Obviously via video link, and we do it on this. We had talked about potentially doing... We're certainly going to do a watch along if we get to the final. And we'll watch it with everybody that wants to come along. I mean, if there's any interest in us doing a watch along tomorrow night, let us know.
Let us know.
We'll certainly see. We may jump on and do one. If
100%.
you guys would be wanting to come along and potentially jump on with us and come on screen and spend a wee bit of time on screen with us as well. If that's something you're interested in, drop us a wee DM or an email or whatever it should be. Let us know. We'll see if there's enough interest, and if there is, we'll do it. Right. Well, let's move on. A couple of other things to sort of talk about just before we finish up tonight. A mad rumor doing the rounds today that Arteta potentially going at the end of the season, and that Arsenal have made contact with this man, Maurizio Sarri, as the potential new manager. I'm going to start this one off, G. I'm going to go on record now and say, if we get rid of Arteta and his replacement is Sarri, from the minute Sarri gets announced, my first tweet will be #Sarri out. I do not want this man at our club. Yes, he won the Europa League with Chelsea, and he won the Serie A title with Juventus the following season. But quite frankly, I could have managed Juventus to that Serie A title. It's not difficult. The Chelsea one, he did well, getting the Europa League. But that's it. In 30 years of management, he's managed 20 different clubs and won 2 trophies. Sorry, he's won 3 trophies. He won the Serie D Cup, which is a cup competition, a straight knockout competition played between Serie D teams. And he won that. That's the 4th division of Italian football. So, for me, it would be from day one, Sarri out. How are you feeling on that one?
Did you see what I did? Like, to be honest, like the last couple of days, I've been so busy at work that I've not even really been able to kind of stay up to date with the kind of, rumors going around Twitter. But as soon as you said that, I poured a vodka. I literally poured a vodka. I was like, no. Listen, no chance. Like, for me, don't get me wrong, I've made it clear that I'm not particularly happy with Arteta's performance. I believe that this is a results business, and as much as I will take into consideration all the things that Arteta's had to deal with, becoming Arsenal manager, and since he's become Arsenal manager, I don't feel as though he's getting the best out of these players at the present time. Having said that, if this club sacks Arteta and replaces him with this geezer, I wouldn't even have any words. I'm just thinking to myself, no. Like right now, I can't even ration out an argument. You've said it all in terms of his record and so forth. But for me, no chance. No, I don't want him anywhere near Arsenal whatsoever. There are so many better managers out there. We are a massive club. And sometimes it really hurts me. The disrespect that I see on Twitter. One time, I think recently I had an argument with a fan on Twitter, and he was talking about Arsenal, etc., etc., and he supported West Ham, and I see Leicester and all these teams, and they're trying to chuck it on Twitter to me, and I'm like, listen, you need to stay in your lane. Arsenal are a huge club. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, we might not have won a Premiership in 17 years, but we are massive, in comparison to a lot of these small teams in the league. So for me, everything we do must show how big we are, must show our class, our history, and we're a club that historically have won so many trophies. Historically that have done so well, and then we're going to appoint. And people might say, oh, well, we appointed Arteta, he wasn't proven. But at least Arteta's starting his career. This geezer is like on the verge of retiring, or probably should have retired, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and he ain't won nothing. So for me, replacing Arteta with this guy, I'm not even going to call him by his name. With this guy, listen, if that's not a stepwards back, if that's not a back.
Like, your head.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just thinking to myself, if that is not a step backwards, then I don't know what is. And I can't honestly think any Arsenal fan logically would want to see this. And if they do, I'd be happy to hear from them, because I'd be open to having a debate on Twitter about this, because I cannot see any logic in this. I'm glad I've not seen it. But yeah, for me, no way. I don't want him anywhere near Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we both said that, and, sum up the feelings of the people watching along here as well. Gary, their last time he was in the Premier League, all I recall is Sarri out. Yeah. Ryan, no, please, not Sarri. Keith, no.
Me.
You can read that sentiment yourself.
Yeah.
Gary, football gods really hate us since they let this rumour get out. Why?
Mate, I was all stumbling my words. Even the thought of him coming to the club.
Sarri's own keeper embarrassed him in a cup final. He's a weak manager. Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
It beggars belief that we're even linked with him.
I know.
And the question is, is this the Cronkies are making this decision? Or is this coming about because this is someone Daniel Ek is looking at as a potential manager? And if that's the case, if Daniel Ek came in and his first move was to get rid of Arteta,
he'd be done.
Sorry, forget it. Forget it. Might as well just try and sell the club again.
Yeah.
So
stay in Sweden, because we don't want that.
Yeah. Well, on that note, obviously Keith and I had a sort of conversation around this on Monday night, and there's been a little bit more has transpired now, obviously this week, just on the whole sort of takeover and the Cronkies out, Glazers out, and all that sort of stuff. So I mean, hearing today that Wenger potentially coming on board with Daniel Ek's bid. So that's the first thing you sort of mention. The second thing is then, what do you make of the protests at United the other day on Sunday? Because obviously we didn't get a chance to speak about that.
Yeah, so kind of starting with the whole Daniel Ek situation. So it's I think I made it kind of fundamentally clear. I believe I kind of put the video out there on Twitter and the socials, is that I actually don't care who owns the club. I'll say it again. For me, it doesn't actually matter who the actual person is. In an ideal situation for me, a lot of Arsenal fans are very much of the opinion that there's no way back for the Cronkies because of this whole European Super League situation. You know what? It is what it is. They signed up for what they thought was, a game-changing situation that would have brought in a huge amount of revenue for the club. People make business decisions when they own businesses. Like, I'm not going to take it personally, regardless of whether it goes against the values and the traditions of English football. I'm not going to take it personally. At the end of the day, they made the call. They withdrew, as far as we know, and that's that. For me, the Cronkies own the club. They don't have to sell, and they probably won't sell. What do I want to see from the Cronkies? I want to see some ambition. I want to see some passion. And for me, as an owner of Arsenal Football Club, the way you show that is taking out your wallet and spending some money, because we are falling behind every single season. Every single season we watch our club, we see us slowly slip down that league table. We're potentially on the verge of not playing European football next season. So I don't care if it's the Cronkays. I don't care if it's Daniel Ek. I just want, whoever owns this club to actually spend some money and get us back competing with, the other teams in the Premier League. So for me, the Cronkays can redeem themselves. They can spend some money this summer and actually get us back up to the top of the table and challenging. In terms of Daniel Ek's, potential bid, I'm all for it, because at the end of the day, if the Cronkays can't deliver and bring us success, which Man City's owners have, Chelsea's owners have, then I'm by all means behind it. If he's gonna come in, he's a so-called, I'm not buying this whole I've been an Arsenal fan all my life narrative, because I don't know. He could be an Arsenal fan, he might not. It's just one of those things where obviously with the media and PR, they're always going to say the right things in terms of trying to kind of put out this narrative using social media and the press, etc. But if he does, if he's put in this bid and he's passionate about Arsenal and he's going to come in and do things potentially different or better than the Cronkays, then I'm all for the bid. And whether that involves Henry, Patrick Vieira, Bergkamp, Wenger or not, I'm not too bothered. I think Wenger was a great manager. I think he came to this club and I think he revolutionized Arsenal Football Club to a certain extent, and even English football with a lot of the things that he brought with him. At the same time, he stayed at the club too long. And when he left, he probably left many years before he should have left. So, people are talking about, having legends on board and having, Arsene Wenger on board. I believe that all of that is to do with like publicity. I think it's to kind of win over the fan base, to kind of get the fan base behind the actual Daniel Ek bid. I don't think, they're going to play any kind of major role other than showing support for Daniel Ek and kind of being an advisory role. And obviously just winning over the fan base, because let's face it, there are so many fans out there. We are fond of Arsene Wenger, regardless of how it ended. I love Arsene Wenger. I grew up watching, Arsene Wenger, and the Invincible team and lifting, Premier Leagues and FA Cups and so forth. So, I do believe that a lot of it is to do with PR. A lot of it is to win over the hearts and minds of Arsenal fans rather than actually have anything to do with the actual bid. So whether the Cronkies stay, they need to spend. If they don't want to spend, they need to go. And if Daniel Ek's going to come in, he needs to spend. And if he's going to do the same as the Cronkays, then look, we might as well just keep them. There's no point switching owners if we're going to just have more of what we're experiencing at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But like I said, I know it sounds a bit frank, but I'm kind of a bit bored of the whole takeover thing. I said on Monday when we spoke, when you guys were doing the live, you and Keith, I'm quite worried about this whole takeover situation, because from there's no smoke without fire. Daniel Ek is definitely interested in the club. The problem is this is going to be a long drawn out process, whether or not the Cronkays sell or whether or not they eventually sell. Either way, it's going to be a lot of to-ing and fro-ing in terms of bids, rejections, bids, accepting, etc., etc. And to buy a business like Arsenal, it's not going to happen overnight. So I'm just thinking to myself, if the Cronkies really do want to sell, we're not going to expect any investment this summer. And I'm just thinking, with this current squad, with Arteta and how we've performed this season, what on earth are we going to do next season when, lo and behold, everybody in and around us is actually going to strengthen? So while it's quite exciting that we could potentially be getting new owners, it's also quite scary, because what does that mean for us this transfer window? If the Cronkies do want to sell, they're not going to invest on the club. And can Daniel Ek really push a purchase of Arsenal Football Club, over the line that quick to get on board, keep Arteta, replace Arteta, and then actually start thinking about the transfer market? So, it's worrying for me more than exciting at the moment. In terms of Manchester United, boy, I think with the fans, I think the whole protesting became a bit of a contest. I think, on Twitter there was a lot of like, mockery of the Chelsea fans and mockery of the Tottenham fans, etc., in terms of their protests. And I think, to be honest, I think the Arsenal fans, out of all the protests that happened, in terms of numbers, in terms of like the way they carried themselves, I think they probably did the best in terms of having an effective protest. And I think the whole Manchester United protest was just an excuse to grab the headlines and actually kind of, it became a thing where, oh, well, if Arsenal can do it, this is what we could do. We could go one step further. I'm all for peaceful protest, and I'm all for, if the situation needs it, I'm all for, people potentially protesting and maybe sometimes, maybe doing things that people might kind of frown upon. But given this situation and football, I thought what they did personally was disgusting. And I don't think that the media coverage was very realistic in terms of what was seen. I feel as though there was more negative coverage of Arsenal fans in terms of their protest than there was even of the Manchester United fans. And I just thought, like, they broke into the stadium, they went on the pitch, the whole match was postponed. And don't get me wrong, I understand that fans are passionate about their club. I understand that fans want change in terms of their owners. But as far as I'm concerned, the way they behaved was not acceptable, in my opinion. So I'm not a fan of it. I really, really hope that Arsenal fans do not see that as almost like, okay, we're going to pass the gauntlet over to you guys. What can you guys do next? Because I tell you, I'll be so pissed off and so disappointed if Arsenal fans actually do that, because the most important thing is the match.
Yeah,
that's the most important thing, nothing else.
I think what annoyed me was seeing Gary Neville fist bump United fans. Biggest hypocrite out, he really is. But anyway, listen, I'm sort of conscious of time. Obviously, we can tell you weren't on Monday night because you've been making up for it tonight. So, yeah, I mean, we've covered off a lot tonight. It's been a good show. Guys watching live, thank you so much. If you have any more comments or questions for us, drop them in the chat now. And G, I'm going to give you your opportunity now to do your favourite bit so you can talk a little bit more.
I apologize. I literally had to get it out of my system. It's like on Monday, I was so annoyed that I couldn't actually make it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, sorry if I've been ranting too much, guys. But yeah, thank you for everyone who's kind of tuned into the live. Massively appreciate your support. Those of you who are watching the live at a later date and time, again, massively appreciate your support. And for both me and Stephen, you can follow us on our socials. So we are on Facebook, which is Cannon Chatter. We are on Instagram, which is @Cannon_Chatter. Me and Stephen have made no secret that we don't know very much about Twitch. However, if you do have a Twitch account and you want to jump on there and watch the streams and interact, please feel free to. And that's
you do have one Twitch follower now.
We do. Yeah, one more follower than we had the other day. Definitely. But like, obviously, most of you know us from Twitter. I think for me, given this whole kind of lockdown situation, and since we started up Cannon Chatter, I think it's just been so refreshing interacting with you guys on Twitter. So please do make that continue. So our Twitter account, our official Twitter account, is @Cannon Chatter. I must say, Stephen, big up to you. He generally kind of manages the Cannon Chatter account. And I've got to say, massive big up to you with regards to tweets. I think some of the recent tweets with regards like the carpet, with regards, Chesney wanting our Arsenal back. This is not what we mean. He's got a real skill and a real knack for it. So if you don't follow us already, make sure you follow us, because Stephen's got them tweets on lock. So make sure you follow it, and obviously get liking and retweeting, because the content is of real quality. Obviously, if you want to follow us both individually, Stephen is SB at SB Cannon Chatter. And my Twitter is @GRantsArsenal. So yeah, feel free to follow us on the socials, interact with us, because we're here, we're not going anywhere, and we're just looking to grow. And also make sure that you subscribe, like, and turn on those notifications. We've got real big plans. Obviously, the season is coming to an end. We've got a massive game tomorrow night. Hopefully, a massive game in a couple of weeks' time with the Europa League final and a couple of league games to kind of get out the way. But we do have big plans for the summer. So we've got, potential shows about grassroots football. We've got potential shows about transfers, the Euros. So really exciting. So, it's now would be the time, if you've not jumped on the kind of Cannon Chatter wave, now would be the time to jump on and just see what we got coming your way. So yeah, subscribe, like, and turn on those notifications, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. As G said, some big plans coming up. We will be doing we have a like and share giveaway we'll be doing in the next couple of days to win this lovely little bucket hat that I had made up. We will give this away. And we are planning something around the Euros, a bit of a competition that you can join in, that basically you can buy into. There will be no profit for us. It will be a pure winner takes all for a bit of fun. But we'll talk about that a wee bit closer to the time. Just want to say thank you once again to our sponsor, the Matchday Shop, www.matchdayshop.com. As I keep saying at the minute, those who don't want to put their money into the club, put it into his shop, buy some nice memorabilia, buy some, souvenirs, buy some Arsenal stuff. It doesn't mean you can't support Arsenal. It doesn't mean you can't buy Arsenal related merchandise. Just if you don't want to buy it in the shop, buy it from Dan. Right, a couple of quick comments then. Gary, great show, Stephen G. Have a good night. Let's hope for a good game. A great game. Yeah, absolutely. Keith, great show, lads. Loved it. Intelligent, entertaining, well played. Thank you, Keith. Do you think he gets to keep his job, Keith, or should you just come back home permanently? All right. So we will... As I say, if anybody is interested in us doing a watch along tomorrow night, drop us a wee message and we'll see if we get any interest. We'll do it. If there's not an awful lot of interest, we'll probably won't. We'll definitely do one if we get to the final. And we'll talk about that obviously close to the time and try to get some of you guys on screen with us, and we'll make it a wee bit more entertaining than a lot of the watch alongs you'll see. We will be back definitely on Friday night. And this is what I was saying about a chance for you to redeem yourself, G. We're going to be joined by Chris Davison. Keep him, he's awesome.
Oh, man. Keith, you're my guy, You're my guy.
So, yes, we're going to be joined by Chris Davison, who is an up-and-coming young journalist who's been on the show with us before. And he did beat G in the Take On G, but it wasn't actually called Take On G at that point. So he is 1-0 up on you.
That's technically then that doesn't count.
No, it still counts. It still counts. We just hadn't given the feature a name. So you got your chance on Friday night to redeem yourself against him. I know he's looking forward to that, to try and get 2-0 up on you.
Well, listen. But you need to make sure there's no VAR, there's no Irish connection this time. It's just fair questions. Do you know what I mean? Fair questions.
Here, G, see that big handle on the side of your neck? Just give it a wee wind in there.
Listen.
So,
what did you say to me the other night? Suck it.
Yeah, right. If nobody has any other comments, I've been looking forward to doing this one just all day, just because we got a new graphic and Martin came up with a new overlay for me, and I love these things and it entertains me. So I just had to think, what am I going to talk about? We did a couple of times for the last couple of weeks. We did sort of Stephen's final thought. And
quality.
Lo and behold, we have Stephen's final thought.
Quality.
So,
love it.
My final thought for tonight. We've mentioned obviously the protests, and there is talk that there potentially is going to be protests tomorrow night at the Emirates. I know there's people who are wanting to turn up and welcome the team boss, and I support that fully. Likewise, I do support if people want to go down and protest about Cronky out, fine. As G said, what the United fans did wasn't the passing of the gauntlet. It wasn't here, you take it and see if you can do it bigger and better. I've heard talk that there are, members of the... I want to say supporters, but I can't really class them as supporters if they're going to storm the pitch and cause delays to this match, because, as we said on Monday night, it won't take a lot for UEFA to throw us out of this competition. This game isn't getting postponed. This game is getting called off, and Villarreal will be put through.
Yep.
You know, it's not a case of we'll delay the match for an hour or so, and if it gets delayed, it's more than likely it's called off. If it's called off, we're out. It's as simple as that. So if you are going down, don't let yourself down. Don't get yourself get sucked into that with other people. Don't be led on by others. As the sort of Rocky saying, remember who you are and who you represent, and remember you're representing the fans that can't be there as well. And if I was there, I wouldn't be storming the pitch. So I would ask that you don't storm the pitch, because you're representing me, you're representing G, you're representing Keith, you're representing all those fans who can't get down to make that protest with you. And whilst we respect and we thank you for going and making that protest, don't take it too far. And what I would say, and I'll leave you with this, is if you are going to there and you're going to be having a drink and stuff, go with the attitude of this United fan that I seen. Be classy. Have a bottle of rosé, not a 6-pack of beer. And on that, I will say good night. We will definitely see you on Friday. As I say, if you want to watch along tomorrow night, let us know. If not, we'll see you on Friday night, and hopefully we'll all be in great form after a really good victory tomorrow night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.